In the quiet suburb of Guildford, Surrey, nestled between rows of ivor-laced brick homes, stood the modest but well-kept Roberts residence. Inside, sunlight filtered through cream curtains into an open-plan lounge. It was early afternoon, and the peaceful silence was only disturbed by the occasional buzz of Lila's phone. Lila Roberts, 20 years old, lounged on the sofa wearing a plain white t-shirt and mustard yellow trousers, scrolling through her social media feed. She had been home since morning. The house remained untouched, dishes from breakfast still in the sink, and the kitchen counters bare. Her mother, Mrs. Eleanor Roberts, had left at 7 a.m. for the law firm in central London where she worked tirelessly as a paralegal. That morning, before leaving, Eleanor had said gently while preparing her travel mug, "Lila, love, I'll be home around 3. If you could just make something simple for lunch, not for me only, but for us, it would be really appreciated." It wasn't an order. It was a request from a working mother who spent every ounce of energy ensuring her daughter had comfort she herself once never had. Lila had nodded casually at the time, barely listening, her focus on the video she was editing for social media. Yeah, I'll sort it." But of course, she didn't. As hours passed, she wasted time scrolling, chatting with friends online, occasionally adjusting the blinds or reheating her tea. The clock struck 3:07 p.m. That's when the front door unlocked. Eleanor entered, shoulders slightly slumped under a long grey coat. Her heels softened on the hallway runner as she glanced inside. She expected the smell of something, roasted vegetables, perhaps, or even something simple like beans on. Instead, nothing. Just silence. Her eyes wandered to the sink. Dirty dishes. The counter. Empty. Lila. On the sofa. Phone in hand. Eleanor didn't say a word. She placed her handbag slowly on the table and removed her coat, hanging it neatly. Lila looked up, smiling without guilt. "Oh hey Mum, you're back early. I thought you'd be later. You hungry? I can whip something up in a bit." Eleanor didn't reply initially. She simply sat on the single-seater chair beside the sofa, clasping her hands together silently. "Lila," she finally said, calmly but firmly, "did you cook lunch?" "No, I got distracted. I was going to, but I sort of just forgot." "You forgot," Eleanor repeated softly, with quiet disbelief. Not anger. Not scolding. Just disappointment layered under exhaustion. "You were here for 8 hours. I, on the other hand, worked straight through lunch because I was counting on the thought that something would be ready when I arrived." Lila shifted, realizing suddenly how serious this was. "I'm sorry, I just didn't think it was a big it wasn't a big deal to you," Eleanor interjected, her voice still low, "but for me, it meant getting through a demanding day believing my own daughter considered me. And discovering otherwise hurts more than anger." Lila bit her lip, eyes lowering. The silence grew heavy. Eleanor stood slowly. "Follow me to the kitchen." In the kitchen, Eleanor spoke with the poise she usually reserved for court hearings. "You are 20, Lila. You're not a child to be scolded lightly, nor are you behaving as an adult." She opened a drawer and retrieved a wooden paddle-shaped breadboard, a traditional family heirloom that had historically served as a disciplinary symbol rather than actual kitchenware. Lila's eyes widened slightly. She knew what it represented, not violence, but a serious warning, always used in her mother's upbringing during moments of extreme irresponsibility. Only once before did Eleanor use it with Lila, when she was 16 and skipped school to attend a festival without permission. Eleanor held it calmly. "This is not done out of anger. It is done to remind you that actions, or inactions, carry real consequences." Lila's throat tightened. She nodded silently. What followed was brief, non-graphic, and exceptionally controlled. Eleanor administered a short, sharp paddling, not excessive, not repeated unnecessarily, just enough to register the seriousness of the moment. Her expression was composed, unwavering. She gave clear instructions and ensured it remained within boundaries of safe corrective discipline. Lila, though tearful from shock and guilt rather than pain, complied without resistance. The moment, though physically brief, marked emotionally the beginning of maturity. Midway through, Lila's voice cracked, and she whispered, "Mum, I'm sorry. I didn't respect your effort today. I had no excuse. I just took you for granted." Eleanor paused, lowering the paddle. "Do you truly understand the depth of the disappointment, Lila?" "Yes." Lila replied through quiet tears. "I didn't think. I acted selfishly. You work so hard, and I couldn't be bothered to do a basic thing. I'm so sorry." After ensuring discipline was complete and within safe limits, Eleanor set the paddle aside without dramatics. She didn't prolong it. She didn't speak harshly. She simply said, "Discipline is not meant to break you, but to steer you back on the right path." Lila nodded, tears falling gently. Later that evening, Lila sat alone in her room, staring at her reflection. Her eyes were red, but her breathing was steady. The physical discomfort was minimal. What weighed heavily was the emotional realization that she had failed to value effort, kindness, and responsibility. She stared at the cold lunch ingredients still untouched on the countertop earlier. She imagined her mother sitting hungry in an office cubicle, looking forward to something that never arrived. That was the real sting. She whispered to herself, "She's given everything to make life easier for me. And I couldn't give 10 minutes back. How childish have I been?" She opened her notebook and wrote, "Starting tomorrow, I will act like the adult I claim to be. Responsibility is love in action." The next morning, Lila woke up early, 6:30 a.m., before her mother. She quietly went to the kitchen, still in her white t-shirt and yellow trousers, hair tied neatly. She prepared a full English breakfast, eggs scrambled carefully, toast browned just right, tea brewed with her mother's favorite hint of ginger. At 7:15, Eleanor stepped into the kitchen, stopping mid-stride as she saw the table. Lila turned toward her and spoke, voice sincere, "Mum, I know sorry isn't enough, but this is the start. I will never take your effort for granted again. I am grateful. And I will prove it daily." Eleanor softened. She stepped forward and, instead of saying much, just gently rested a hand on her daughter's shoulder. "You made a mistake," she said quietly, "but what matters is how you rise after it. You have taken the first step." They sat together at the kitchen table. No dramatic reconciliation, no overly emotional ending, just mutual understanding and the beginning of change. As they ate, Lila glanced outside at the mist-covered British street. Cars passed slowly, morning routines beginning. She realized adulthood wasn't about turning 18 or moving out, it was about consistency, dependability, and quiet resilience.